and all he wants to do is neurosurgery. I think he probably would have jumped out of the moving vehicle. Murder type shit. There's been like a weird like foot scene. What's up guys? My name is Natalie and welcome to my Nook of Novels. In today's video, I am going to be reading only Colleen Hoover books for 1 week. As I'm filming this right now, I've already actually filmed this vlog, so this is me from the future. Throughout the duration of the week that I'm filming this, I still have all of my like normal daily responsibilities and things like that, so this vlog is like a Monday through Monday vlog, sort of. I was only originally going to do Monday through Thursday, but then I decided I may as well just go ahead and finish out the books that I was working on, but I still had work on Friday through Sunday at my normal job, so I didn't really do any updates or anything during that. I also like had other videos that I was trying to post last week as I was filming this vlog, so I had other stuff that I was working on as well, so it wasn't just like a drop everything and read for a week kind of thing. I still had a lot of other things to do, but overall I definitely feel like I made the most out of this week, and I feel like I got a lot out of the reading that I did consume during this vlog, and I had a great time with it. So I hope you guys have a great time watching this vlog. Another thing too is like, I wouldn't say I'm a crazy Colleen Hoover fan, but I also don't dislike her books at all. Like, I genuinely enjoy myself while I'm reading books like this. So I definitely really enjoy especially some of like the plots that Colleen Hoover comes up with and the way that they're expressed in her dual timeline sort of thing. And this is something I get into later in the vlog as I'm reading the books. I kind of make some connections between the books and some of her kind of storytelling methods that I think are done very well and make for a very interesting story. Colleen Hoover also definitely gets a lot of hate, and I would say that there are definitely some cringy parts of her stories, and there are some things that I bring up specifically too as I'm going and reading through these stories. There are definitely some things that I bring up where I'm like, wow, this was absolute trash. This was garbage. Like, this line or this description, or, you know, the way that these characters are expressed, or just like the fact that even like they are the love interest as the characters that they are, sometimes it's just very silly. It's very overwhelmingly fan fiction kind of vibes, but that's not always a bad thing, obviously. Like, some of that is some of that is a bad thing, I would say. That kind of detracts from the story for my reading experience personally, not to hate on anyone who enjoys it, but aside from that, I would say that like I do genuinely really enjoy her books as far as my actual experience reading them, and either like making fun of mentally the things that I think are absolute garbage, or like really genuinely being so invested in the actual plot that's happening. So I didn't really know anything about these books before I started delving into them, aside from just like that they're by Colleen Hoover. That was kind of the extent of my knowledge. But yeah, so without further ado, here is my Colleen Hoover vlog. Hey y'all, so welcome to the first part of this vlog. So today is Monday. It's about 1 p.m. and I have started listening to It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And so I originally was planning to go ahead and start listening to this a couple days early because I was going on a little road trip, if you will, sort of kinda. On Friday, I had a 2-hour drive to where I was going and back. So 4 hours total, and I was gonna start listening to it then so I could already be like halfway through the book. But it turned out my brother was riding with me, so I was not going to subject him to 4 hours of Colleen Hoover. I think he probably would have jumped out of the moving vehicle, so I had to wait to start it. And I could have started it this weekend too, but like by the time I was driving, I hadn't thought about it yet, and I didn't get a chance to like go into Audible and actually like download it. So here we are. We're finally starting it. I'm on chapter 2, and it's pretty decent so far. I feel like books like this always have a very same like vibe, and I have similar feelings towards them where everything that's going on, I'm like, this is so stupid, but I'm also so invested. I really want to know what's gonna happen. And I don't know, Colleen Hoover is really good at doing like a whole like mystery element where she kind of makes you wonder and wait about certain things for a while and then finally reveals them. When I left my house this morning, I kind of forgot that I was starting this vlog, so I took Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil with me, and I don't anticipate having a chance to sit and read read while I'm out today. So I went to the gym, and then I went with my boyfriend's mom to the store to like look at furniture and stuff. And now I'm at their house and I'm gonna paint some doors, and then I'm gonna go home and finish editing a video today so I can post it. I always like bring a book just in case, but I forgot that I am starting Colleen Hoover, so I brought that one. And then once I get home, I'm gonna obviously like switch and start the Colleen Hoover book. I'm really hoping to get through at least 3 Colleen Hoover books this week. That feels so ambitious. I don't know how many I'm actually gonna get through. So I'm starting with It Ends With Us on audio because I feel like I can get through 2 audiobooks, and I want to read this and It Starts With Us. But then physically, so the first one I'm gonna read is Layla, because that one has just been staring at me in like the stack of Colleen Hoover books that I have, and I really feel like I can fly through that because it looks like a thriller. I'm pretty sure it just gives the vibes that it's gonna be really quick and fast paced, and it's just calling my name. So I'm gonna start with that one, and then maybe if I have time after that, I'll probably read November 9, but we'll see how much I can get done. I do still have like other things to do this week, so it's just gonna have to depend on how much time I have. So I'm gonna go paint for now, and I'm gonna listen to this while I paint so I can make as much progress on this as I possibly can today. And yeah, I'll let you guys know later just kind of like how I'm feeling about the book so far once I get further in. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now, but I will give you guys a little bit of an update later. Hey y'all, so I haven't really like given you guys much of an update on this book at all. I think I just told you guys pretty much that I started reading this. I am 10 chapters in. Okay, I'm on chapter 11. Okay, so I'm this far in the audiobook. So I've made some decent progress. I've been listening to it pretty much as I can while I was driving around yesterday, while I was doing my makeup this morning, and then I'm going to be doing a lot of driving today as well, so I'm going to definitely be getting like a lot of progress done through this book. And kind of my thoughts on this so far, I'm definitely enjoying it, and it's definitely really stupid in certain parts. So where do I start? First of all, one thing that I do really like about this book, and I feel like I've seen this throughout multiple Colleen Hoover books, is the way that she talks about unhoused individuals is with a lot of like sympathy, and she has this very like human gaze of people no matter what kind of situations that they find themselves in, and I really appreciate that about her books. They're just very positive towards human people who a lot of people are put in difficult situations through no means of their own. So it talks a lot about the fact that there's like a lot of flaws within the American government, and how a lot of people are kind of forced to fend for themselves when they're not really able to do that, and it makes things really difficult and complicated, and essentially like people are left with nothing sometimes because they just got unlucky and things like that. So I really appreciate how that is like handled in this. The only thing I will say, well, this isn't really a negative thing, but the book kind of really says that like blatantly. It's Kitty, don't. Oh my god, this cat, guys, this cat. If I ask really, really nicely, will you just like get down? Okay, so it does blatantly say that. Like, if these aren't thematic ideas that are sprinkled here and there, like, you know, her internal monologue, whatever, she's just saying the words, like, these systems are really messed up. It's really unfortunate that people end up like this, and like people should help them out more, like donate to charities and use their money wisely and kindly and things like that. So it's very like, blatantly like in the reader's face. It takes less than 0 brain power to pick up on that, but I don't think that's a problem by any means. That doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna be picky about that because I think that that's a very positive message to be spreading in a very clear way. I think that that can definitely be a very good thing. Some things about this that I think are silly goofy. This is the second time that there's been like a weird like foot scene in a Colleen Hoover book. The first one was in Ugly Love, and it was kind of this instance where they were riding in the car on the way to somewhere. I don't really know. I want to say it was like a summer home or something. And she was like in the back seat and he was driving the car and everyone was asleep. And she had her foot on the console and he kind of just started like touching her foot. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, it's kind of cute. I can get behind it. Okay. And then it happened again in this book and I was like, okay. Again, it was like, it's kind of cute, whatever, I don't know, but I just thought it was silly that this is the second time this has occurred. If I had a nickel for every time this happened, I'd only have 2 nickels, but it's really weird that it happened twice. I just think it's kind of silly. I don't remember what the instance was in this. She sprained her ankle and he was like caressing her foot while he was like checking it. I don't know. But anyway, very silly. This dude is a neurosurgeon and I'm pretty sure he showed up to work intoxicated at some point. So he had been like getting high and then they called him in. He wasn't really on call, so he wasn't supposed to work, but he still showed up to his neurosurgeon job high, which I feel like is not, maybe don't do that, but also like if you're the only person who can do the surgery right then, I don't know, it's complicated. It feels morally weird. I don't know how I feel about that. So that was just something I wanted to throw out there. And then the third thing was that there was just this scene that I thought was so wild. It really threw me for a loop. I was like, what is my man on right now? I haven't seen his name like spelled out yet, and I don't know how I feel about it now that I can see how it's spelled. Okay, I found it. So it says, I inhale a calming breath. Ryle, I say carefully. Did you seriously just knock on 29 doors so you could tell me that the thought of me is making your life hell and I should have sex with you so that you'll never have to think of me again? Are you kidding me right now? I just think that that's wild that this is our love interest, is this man right here. There's more. There is more. Don't you guys worry. He half turns, heading for the hallway, but then suddenly drops to his knees in front of me. He wraps his arms around my waist. Please, Lily, he says through self-deprecating laughter. Please have sex with me. He's looking up at me with puppy dog eyes and a pathetic, hopeful grin. Once you have sex with me, you'll never have to hear from me again. I promise. There's something about a neurosurgeon literally on his knees begging for sex that does me in. That's pretty pathetic. I just think that's absurd. He's a certain type of dude, right, who doesn't believe in love and all he wants to do is neurosurgery. But all of a sudden, like, now that he's met her, there's just no reason. There's no reason for it. But also I'm eating this habit, so I'm like really enjoying myself. So what can I say? I guess I am just like all the other book talk girlies. What can you do? Okay, I'm gonna go and do things. So the thing is, I am filming a video today for it's like a reading challenge vlog for the day. So I am basically reading a chapter for every like location that I'm going to. That'll be up before this, so I'll have it linked in the description if y'all want to go and check it out. And I'm starting to read Layla today. So I haven't picked this up yet, but this is going to be the first physical book that I'm reading just because it's really been calling my name and I feel like I can get through this pretty quickly. It's either going to be the only book I read this week or one of 2 books. So we'll just have to see, like physically reading. Obviously I also have the audiobooks going on, but so I'm really trying to speed through this. That being said, I don't know necessarily how much I'm going to be updating this vlog today just because I'm filming that other vlog throughout the day. So I don't know how much you'll hear from me, and then I think I'll give you guys more of a full update tonight once I am like a chunk of the ways into this on my first impressions and how I'm feeling about this so far. So those are my plans. And then tomorrow is going to be a big like editing day, but I'm still going to try to read and update you guys as much as I can during that. And then I don't really have anything specific for Thursday that I'm gonna be doing, so that also could be a bigger reading day. We'll just have to see. And most of my like week-long vlogs are like Monday through Thursday just because I work on Fridays through Sundays, but as of right now I'm not scheduled on Friday. I'm trying to pick up some more shifts, so I'll probably go out and DoorDash or something during the day, like just so I'm making some money on Friday, but I probably won't be doing that throughout the entire day. So if I do have some extra time, probably until Sunday or so, I might update you guys like another time or 2. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see kind of like how I'm feeling, how the vibes are. Those are the plans. And I'm actually gonna go now because I am starving and I want to go eat. So goodbye. Hey y'all, so hopefully the audio quality is not terrible at this random park that I'm at. I'm sure it's not great, especially with cars driving past. Bear with me. I was trying to go for a little change of scenery, if nothing else, but I'm having a really good time reading these books right now, especially the audiobook, It Ends With Us. Things are getting really intense right now in that it's kind of a love triangle sort of situation happening, and I feel like Colleen Hoover does this really well, where she'll do like a past timeline and a current timeline, and you kind of see like, obviously you know the past one did not end well because they're not together anymore in the current timeline, but it's good. Like, it's really interesting. There's a lot of tea, a lot of drama, it feels like, in the things that are happening, and it's so fun to just consume. To me, and It Ends With Us, there is a clear choice of which guy is the better choice, at least where we're at right now, and I'm on chapter like 13 or so I feel like we're like nearing the halfway point, if we're not already there. And so the thing is, the one guy, he didn't do anything bad necessarily, he just, you know, it was like the bad boy vibes, you shouldn't date me because XYZ, whatever, right? Like blah blah blah, he doesn't believe in love, whatever, like, he's just not like that. Okay, that's fine, whatever. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm in love with you, okay, cool, we're dating, awesome, great, wonderful things, right? There was nothing like negative necessarily. But the other guy is just so nice, so kind, such a humble human being. He feels so much more like a genuine human being who is not on some random high horse he doesn't belong on. He is such a real person who has experienced like real, genuine human things and has gone through it. I just can appreciate him more as like a human being who I not necessarily like can directly relate to, but I can at least like sympathize with him and like understand him, whereas the other guy, like, he just has no excuse. It's not even that I'm like comparing two people with like certain flaws and it's like excusable in one versus the other, like that's not even the case. It's more just the fact that like the one guy just seems more genuine than the other. Like one of them seems just like a made up guy, the ideal man, but like is he a kind person, you know? So, and I just haven't really seen that. I haven't seen any examples of him feeling like a real person. Also, some crazy shit just went down in the last 5 minutes of what I listened to, and now I hate him, and I already know that she's gonna end up with this guy, and it's honestly just gonna piss me off for the rest of the book. So I am truly upset, devastated even. Hopefully that was not a gunshot, but who's to say? I was like not getting teary, but I was definitely like feeling it. That was an emotional roller coaster. The last little segment that occurred within It Ends With Us. So that's cool and fun. The thing is, like, reading two romance books at the same time is confusing, and I think it doesn't help that they're by the same author, and also one of them has two different plot lines in it. So I'm reading about 3 separate romances with 5 different characters. 5's not that many, obviously, but it's the fact that like I'll pick up one and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is about these characters and not these ones, and it's like this timeline versus this one. I don't always realize at first. I have to tell myself, oh yeah, this is not the same story. The vibes of like how these people met is just so romantic, and I have no idea where this is going because the chapters, right, it's like so romantic, so cute, honestly, like to die for. Like I'm obsessed with these characters together, and then you get these like segments of this interview which takes place way in the future, and obviously something has occurred, and like I don't know what it is, but it's very like mysterious, thriller, like murder type shit. I don't even know, like I have no scope of the situation yet because it won't tell me what's going on yet, but I'm afraid, to say the least. And I feel like this one is also going to devastate me, so I feel like this is going to be a very sad week in terms of books making me either want to cry or genuinely cry, so that's going to be really cool and fun. The sun is starting to come out from behind these clouds, so I'm going to hurry up and get back to reading my next chapter of this book so that I can then go home and be like not in the sun anymore. I also could just move to a different bench. I'll think about it, I'll ponder, but for now I'm gonna sit here and read, so I'll talk to y'all later. So a common theme that I'm definitely noticing is done really well, or at least is an element that makes Colleen Hoover's books more intriguing, is the transcript thing that makes for a second timeline, and this is pretty much done within all of her books that I've read so far. Verity obviously had like the actual transcript of the story telling about Verity's past, and then the present with the main girl and the love interest, and then Ugly Love, this one wasn't really like a transcript of any sort. It was kind of just, it just kind of went back into his past as like a separate perspective, so that one is a little bit different. But then Layla, right, this is told like in an interview format in the present tense. What happened before is kind of like what he's telling in the interview, I'm pretty sure. And then in It Ends With Us, she has these journal entries that she writes to Ellen DeGeneres of all people. Nothing like negative towards Ellen, but I just like, I feel like it feels really silly and like not childish, but what's a synonym for childish? But aside from that, I like the way that that is told in kind of this diary or this journal or this interview. Like all of that I think is really cool, and I feel like it's done well in a way to like have like a cohesive transition into the past. Sometimes it feels a little like it doesn't really fit in It Ends With Us, because it's kind of just her like, oh, let me go back and read this thing that I wrote about my first love. It feels kind of weird, like her doing that as she's going into a new relationship. Like it just feels kind of silly, but in everything else I feel like it works a lot better and it kind of makes more sense. That's like something I just realized is like done in like all of her books, is that like dual timeline kind of thing. It builds up like the mystery element of the book a lot. It makes you like wonder. It keeps you really on the edge of your seat, wondering kind of what went down in the past to make things end up how they are. And I think that's really cool. I feel like that's something that works very well and is done well. So that is a thumbs up for me. Hey y'all, so I just wanted to pop in and give you guys another update before I start my reading for the day. So today's Thursday. Yesterday I really didn't do any reading at all, except for right before bed I read a few chapters. Layla is getting spooky, let me tell ya. It's very ghost vibes. I'm on page 100 now, I think. So the first, I want to say 80 pages or so. It's not really clear at all what's going on in the book. It kind of just hints at there's some paranormal things happening and we're not really sure kind of what is going on with all of that. It's kind of just there and we're not sure if it's a kind of mental thing or if someone else is doing things to mess with this person or what's going on. But at the point I'm at now, and this is not a spoiler, but there's definitely at least a ghost in this book, if nothing else. And I'm still like kind of skeptical about the narrator. I'm not sure if they're entirely reliable yet or not, especially with the character we're not really in the head of completely. And you can tell that there's a lot of instability going on there just because she has like a lot of memory loss from like an incident that occurred, and there's just like a lot of elements that could factor into the mental states of both characters that could vastly sway the direction of the story. And so I'm not entirely, again, like certain what is specifically going on, but there's a ghost, and honestly paranormal stuff kind of really freaks me out, and that is the thing that like scares me the most in thrillers and horrors and like scary movies and stuff like that, just because like when things are happening that could really happen, I'm like, okay, whatever, like that probably wouldn't happen, blah blah blah. But if it's like a paranormal thing, I'm like, this can't even be explained, like this shouldn't be happening, and it just freaks me out. So I was definitely getting a little bit spooked reading this last night, so I'm gonna try to read as much as I can of this like during the daytime today while there's still light outside and it's less scary. But yeah, I'm definitely really enjoying this. And as far as It Ends With Us, so I am very close to the end of the audiobook. I have 25 minutes left of it, so I'm going to finish that out here in the next little bit. My main like things I want to do today are read Layla and clean while I listen to audiobooks. After I finish It Ends With Us, I want to listen to It Starts With Us, so I will be listening to that throughout today and tomorrow. It Ends With Us. So I am really conflicted. This book is very upsetting. It is honestly like so like emotional, and honestly, so the way that abuse is handled in this book is honestly done a lot better than I was expecting. I had very low expectations going into this book because books like this tend to romanticize abusive relationships. Haunting Adeline. Sorry, there was something in my throat. I was very skeptical when some things started to become apparent about some of these characters. I just did not think that this was going to go well at all. But honestly, it's not too bad because it kind of explores all angles of the situation and makes you understand the main character in a very like multifaceted way where you can understand all aspects of her feelings and the fact that there's a lot of sides to the situation. And obviously like there is a clear thing that she should do, but you can understand why she might not, why she might be skeptical or feeling like multiple ways about the things that are going on. And it makes you understand kind of what it's like to be in that situation and not really know what to do or kind of how you're supposed to feel, even though obviously we as the reader can like tell exactly what is supposed to happen because we are like on the outside, but at the same time you really really get to delve into all of her feelings and emotions, and I think that's very powerful. I think that really says a lot about what it's like to be in that kind of circumstance, and how, you know, not everything is going to be like a very clear, straight answer to everything that's happening. And I really like that. I really enjoy that. I'm not mad about it. I am, however, going to be pissed off if this book ends a certain way that I really did not think. It got to a certain point and I was like, okay, I can see where this is going. And now, like, I'm not really sure. It's kind of just, she's very hesitant about everything, which makes sense, again, like, considering the circumstances. I'm just afraid, to say the least. I have no idea how this is gonna end. I'm 25 minutes away from the ending, and I don't know. So I'm just gonna have to listen to it and see how I feel. But there's also a sequel, so I'm not gonna give up all hope. I guess it's a prequel. I don't really know, guys. Here's hoping. So that being said, again, I'm going to just try to clean and read today. Maybe film some book talks. I have really been meaning to make as many book talks as I can. There's some that I want to, certain videos I've already posted, I want to make book talks for those, and then some that are coming up, because I really want, the goal is to be posting a book talk for every single YouTube video that I post. But obviously it's hard to do that when this is really like my main focus, but I just feel like that is going to help me out a lot in terms of marketing this channel and getting as many views as I really want to be getting. So that's the goal, is to do that. Again, I'm a busy girl, so that doesn't always happen, but reading is just really my main priority for the day. So I am gonna finish listening to It Ends With Us while I do something productive, probably clean my room a little bit, maybe do some dishes, and then I might also, I think I'm gonna take the recycling to the dump today. I might run to the store because I need soap and batteries. That's not like a thing I have to do. I don't know for sure if I'll do that, but maybe. I might do some laundry. Those are just some general things that might get done along those lines. Those are the general things. So I will update you guys later, either when I finish this book or just when I have something exciting to say. So yeah. Y'all, it's the next day. Please ignore the fact that I'm wearing the same outfit. It wasn't dirty, so I just wore it again. I read a lot more of Layla last night. I was going to just go to bed. I spent most of the day cleaning and stuff, and then at one point I was like, okay, like I'm actually gonna sit down and read, and then I didn't. I just cleaned some more stuff and did more things. But then I went to go to bed and I just couldn't sleep. So I read 60 more pages of this, and then when I got up this morning I read another chapter, and then I did some dishes, and now I'm about to go and DoorDash for as many hours as I possibly can. It's getting less and less scary as we go, because like, we're kind of just getting more like familiar with the situation, and it's just like not as scary now that we really know what's going on. But the main character is becoming more and more of an absolute douchebag. So I kind of like the vibes of it though. It almost reminds me of The Shining by Stephen King, where the building itself is like starting to affect this person and make him crazy, and like they start changing and becoming completely just a crazy person because of the building itself. And this isn't building related necessarily, it's more just like the general situation, but I feel like this person is being affected, I think, more than they think they are, and I'm not really sure like how intense it's gonna get or how crazy they are going to become. They've already done some things that are definitely questionable, but they haven't resorted to anything absurd just yet. I'm interested, I'm intrigued, very excited to continue with this. But for the next few hours I'm just gonna DoorDash, listen to It Starts With Us. I've already listened to the first, I don't know how much, I want to say like an hour or two. I listened to it while I was doing dishes and while I was cleaning a bunch yesterday. It's really good. I feel like the conflict in this one is going to be very lessened than how it was in the first book. Also, It Starts With Us is a direct sequel, so really it picks up right where It Ends With Us leaves off, which is really nice, and I'm very excited with the direction of things, and it feels like it's going to be very much more, not necessarily lighthearted, because because the situation is still kind of intense. It's still a lot for the main character to navigate with everything that has happened, but at the same time, where she is right now, she's just in like a much better place, and the situations that she is finding herself in are much better. So we're in a good spot where we are right now. That is going well, and yeah, I guess I'll update you guys if I have anything more to say. I'll let you guys know at least by tonight how much I end up reading of this. If nothing else, I am doing reading sprints on Monday, so I might finish out the rest of this then if I don't do that tonight. That's where we are right now. So male Colleen Hoover characters are just so full of shit. And like, I knew this already, right? You kind of know when you're going into the books. When you first meet them, you can kind of tell. But this is just another level of what in the world? Like, what are we doing here? So we're in his perspective, right? You can see how everything he's doing, he's like, oh my gosh, like I know I'm being an absolute d***hole right now. He's just like lying to this girl's face. Every other line is like, this part's the truth, but this part's a lie. And now I'm really lying about this. And it's like, I cannot fathom. If I had to pick one emotion that these books make me feel the most, it is pissed off, because I just don't understand how you can be a person who loves another individual at some point in time and then turn that love into such a monstrosity. I don't know how to explain without spoiling anything what events are even taking place at the point that I'm at in this book, but it's just really upsetting. It's really disappointing, and I just hope that this ends on a good note for poor Layla, because she has it rough. Honestly, like the main character is just making me so mad. So that being said, this book is good, but also like so annoying. I'm so annoyed. Back to reading, back to suffering, back to the trenches. So I'm gonna try to be kind of quiet in this clip because people are sleeping, but I finished both It Starts With Us and Layla today, and I just now finished this up. First of all, please ignore the fact that my lipstick is like all over my face. I look like a 3-year-old, I know. The ending of this book was so good. I love when things have a very neat, like everything ties together very nicely. It was amazing. I had such a great time with this. There were definitely parts of this that were extremely creepy and made me really on edge. But then like once you kind of realize what's going on, it's not so bad. And then you're really like fascinated by the things that are actually happening. And there's some crazy plot twists at the end. Things keep like twisting and then twisting and then twisting again. And it's really amazing. I love a good shocking ending. Not even ending, just third act kind of like twist. I love being shocked by it. I love reacting to books. And I think that's something that Colleen Hoover really does very well, is like giving a good plot twist that really like shakes things and goes in like a really unexpected direction. And I think that's really like a major strong suit of hers. And even when it's not a very remarkable thing, it might not be very profound, but it still feels very fun and enjoyable. And I think that's why I kind of enjoy these books so much, because you can kind of go into them and like not really expect anything too serious from it. I never pick up a Colleen Hoover book and think this is going to be remarkable and quotable and beautiful. It doesn't have to be any of those things to be so fun and enjoyable. And there's definitely a wide range of like spectrum of qualities that a book can have, and I think that it has to do some of the things well, right? Obviously, if a book is written poorly, it's not shocking. It doesn't have any major thematic aspects to it. If it doesn't have any of those things, right, it's not going to be good. But it can do some of those things very well without necessarily having the others and still be amazing. So I think like this is really a major example of that, because it's not written that crazy beautifully, right? It's a very simple writing style. All of Colleen Hoover's books are very simple. They're not super flowery. It's a very like basic writing style, but you know, there are some witty moments in her writing, and the plot is so like interesting, and it really makes you just want to keep turning the pages just to find out what's going to happen next. And the character dynamics are so fun. And straight from the beginning of this book, I was so invested in the romance just because it was so cute. The romance itself was very poetic, even if the writing wasn't necessarily. And I just think there's something so beautiful about this story specifically. I wasn't even necessarily like seeing that until the very end, because there were so many moments in this book where the main character was insufferable. He was awful, making all the wrong decisions and just being absolutely terrible, and honestly like one of the worst characters I've ever read. I hated him reading this book. And then the plot twist at the end almost excused everything. I was like, wait, I actually fully support now. Not at all actually, but it was literally the one thing that could have fixed everything. And it was just so shocking and stunning, and I just really enjoyed this. So I wouldn't say this is a 5 stars just because like, I don't know, I gave Verity by Colleen Hoover 5 stars because of some of the same reasons I really liked this. And this was definitely a super unique story that did paranormal things in a very different way. It was very unique. And it's not really something that I would say that I've seen before in books. So I don't know, I would almost say I would give this 4.5 stars just because it was really good. I might have to sit on this one and like think about it for a couple days before I can decide if I would really call this a 5-star book or not. It definitely has the potential just because of how fun it was to get through. It was just fun. That's really the big word that I would use to describe this. I was gonna say what kept this from being a 5-star book, just probably the unlikability of the main character, because I think something that makes books feel super strong to me is when you can really understand a character so fully and see the different sides of them. Yes, because of the situation, his actions were understandable and excusable, but in the moment, it was really frustrating. And I think that, yes, that frustration was very intentional and really pulled the story through, because you're kind of warring with what's really happening and like wanting to know more, but knowing nothing that's happening should be happening. But at the same time, it's the reason why you want to keep reading and why everything keeps moving forward in the way that it does. I don't know. I definitely really enjoyed this. So this was so fun and definitely really got my emotions flowing for sure. Made me very angry. And then It Starts With Us was also really good. This one is definitely more of like a solid 4 stars as opposed to anything higher. There wasn't a ton of substance in this book, I would say, but it was still really fun. It was really great in terms of exploring more of these characters that we already have fallen in love with. It picks up directly where It Ends With Us leaves off. When I got to the end of It Ends With Us, I was really excited that there was a sequel to that book, because you do get to see a lot of those characters in the first book, but it's not necessarily in a very happy ending sort of of way. There's a lot of problems that keep happening throughout the book, and it really never feels like you just get to see them living a peaceful and happy life. And it's kind of upsetting to think like, oh, that's just the end of it, and you haven't really seen them enjoying themselves yet. So it's nice to be able to see that in It Starts With Us. The only thing I would say is there's not really a ton of moments that specifically focus on the characters themselves. And the reason I say that is because within the romance, you see details of what's happening. So it'll be like, he leaves me these cute notes all the time, or he swung by to give me a hug. There wasn't any like, we had this beautiful day together kind of things. And I feel like that's something that is extremely valuable in a lot of romance books, is having a cute sunny day between the characters where everything is perfect. And I know that's not even necessarily like the reality of the world that this book takes place in, because there's obviously a lot of like major family issues and things of that nature that happen within the book. A big focus of the duology in general is on the relationship between the characters and the people around them, and there's a lot of big themes expressed that are not romance based, and so there's a lot of major things that it focuses on that are not the romance, but at the same time the book is a romance book at heart, and so I think that there just should have been a little bit more of that, and I think it could have been longer too. I don't think that it would have been a downgrade to lengthen the book and add more like big moments between those characters, just so that you can kind of see more of them, because I feel like that's kind of what the sequel is for, is to see more of this romance that people are already really invested in. So I think that could have been a good way to make this book just a little bit more juicy and really like great to like sink our teeth into as the reader. It was still really great. Like, it was really fun to like experience just more of the book and the aftermath of some of the things that happened in the first one. It was really great. Something else too is the ending of the book was so unexpected, in the sense that I didn't think the book was ending. I was in the car today driving, and I was listening to the audiobook, and I didn't realize how close I was to the end, right? And it got to the last part, and then it just pulled up the end credits, and I was like, oh, that's it? I totally thought there was like 3 or 4 more chapters at least coming up. Again, like, I just think there could have been more of that romance, and especially at the end, so we kind of got more of like an ending, if you will. But I do think it ended in a reasonable way. I just think I was expecting more before the book ended, if that makes sense. But the last line was especially really cute. It was really funny. It made me laugh when it got to the last line. So yeah. Something else like Colleen Hoover does really well is like the first line of her books are always so interesting, because I remember the way Verity started was this skull like splattered on the ground and sprayed blood all over me, or something like that, because the girl was like witnessing a pedestrian traffic accident, and it was just like a wild and shocking way to start. And then the first sentence of this one is, I placed 2 layers of duct tape over Layla's mouth before I came downstairs, but I can still hear the muffled screams as the detective takes a seat at the table. I'm gonna go grab It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us so I can see the first sentence of those, because I'm pretty sure those are pretty good as well. I decided to just grab the whole stack of books while I was at it, because this vlog is about Colleen Hoover as a whole and not just the 3 books that I read this week of hers. So I decided I'm just going to read the first sentence of all of these because I think it's worthwhile. The first sentence of It Ends With Us. Okay, I will say the font for the title page of this was kind of boring. I feel like she could have picked a better font for that. But as I sit here with one foot on either side of the ledge, looking down from 12 stories above the streets of Boston, I can't help but think about suicide. It starts with us. The way asshole is misspelled in red spray paint across the back door of Bibs makes me think of my mother. And I remember that one because it's written asshole as in like an entire ass. It's silly as it goes on. November 9. I wonder what kind of sound it would make if I were to smash this glass against the side of his head. A lot of these are like really violent, the first sentences, but I think it's silly. Reminders of him. There's a small wooden cross staked into the ground on the side of the road with the date of his death written on it. Slammed. Kel and I load the last 2 boxes into the U-Haul. Okay, that one was less exciting, but still. Never Never. I just realized this one has 2 authors. I didn't even realize that until just now. It's also by Taryn Fisher, but the first sentence of this one is a crash. Books fall to the speckled linoleum floor. I'm starting to think that that might be not Colleen Hoover though, because if it's like a dual perspective thing, that might not be hers. But anyway, you get the idea. Her first sentences are usually very chaotic and violent, but it makes for a fun hook to the start of the book. I feel like a lot of Colleen Hoover's books almost feel like kind of, not necessarily like the same story over and over, but I feel like the way that people talk about like Ali Hazelwood books is very similar to how I feel reading Colleen Hoover books, because you kind of know what you're getting into in terms of it's going to be cheesy, it's going to be really silly, you're going to feel like you're reading absolute garbage and Wattpad at times, but at the same time it can be so like shocking, and some parts of it are so you just can't stop reading, and it's like really good. So this was super fun and enjoyable. I'm really proud of myself for finishing 3 books in 1 week, because I started this last Monday. It's Monday now, so this was definitely super fun, and I'm very excited that I got the chance to do this video. I'm hoping to do some similar things to this in the future, especially if you guys really like this video. I can definitely make more of this kind of content. Yeah, if there's any authors that you guys are wanting me to delve into, I can definitely do something like that as well. This kind of thing in the future with different authors. If there's anyone specifically that you guys have in mind or anything like that, I can definitely try to make that happen. But yeah, so that is all for this reading vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, then please hit the like button and subscribe if you would like to, and hit the notification bell if you would like to see the other videos that I post on Mondays and Thursdays, with reading sprints on every first and third Monday of the month, replacing that Monday video. Starting in August, I will be posting only on Thursdays, with additional reading sprints on the first and third Monday of every month. My Bookstagram, my Goodreads, and my book talk will all be linked in the description of this video if you guys would like to check out any of those, as well as a few other of my recent videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!